So you're thinking about moving to the Portland metro area, but you're not quite sure if it's the right fit for you. Well, you found the right video. Today, we're going to do a relocation reality check. We're going to go over the pros and the cons, the challenges and the highlights, basically the good, the bad, and the ugly of living here in the Portland metro area. We're not going to ignore anything. We're going to talk about all of it. So stick around. This is definitely the video you want to check out before you decide whether to make a move or not. Hi, I'm Ben Nelson, and I'm a real estate agent here in the Portland metro area. And my team and I cover the Portland suburbs and out into Oregon wine country. And this channel is all about the Portland metro area. We bring you market updates and information about neighborhoods, things that you can do in the area, lifestyle, all the components of the Portland metro area here. So you can get to know the area, whether you live here and are looking to move to another area or relocating from another part of the country. You're informed and you can make informed decisions. Make sure you hit subscribe so you can stay up to date on all our latest videos and make sure that you're updated on everything that's happening here in the Portland metro area. Okay, so let's dive into it, and we are going to start with the negatives. We're going to look at the ugly side of Portland and the things that you need to be aware of before you move to this area. You definitely don't want to just look at the positives. You want to look at, some of those negative sides as well. So we're going to expose those and dive into those first before we get into all the positives of why you would want to live here. So con number one is, let's be honest, it is not inexpensive to live here. It is more expensive than some other parts of the country for sure. There is a high cost of living, both in housing and overall cost of living. So that is one thing to consider for sure. Your cost of living for housing is between 30 and 40% higher than the national average. Your overall cost of living is about 15% higher than the national average. Your average house price is somewhere in the low to mid 500,000s, definitely higher than the national average. So it is a more expensive place to live. That is for sure. Now, that said, it is still quite a bit less expensive than some of the other major metro markets on the West Coast here. So if you want to live out on the West Coast, you want to live in a major metro area, especially, close to a lot of amenities and some of the other great things we have around here, it is still a much more affordable option than places like Seattle or down south San Diego or San Francisco for sure, right? It is more expensive than a lot of other areas, but it is still a more affordable West Coast option. Con number two is gray skies and rainy days. If you're someone that loves the sun and loves the sunny weather and wants to always be out in the sun, Portland might be a little bit of a shock to you. You're going to have a lot more gray skies and a lot more rainy days here. Actually, the amount of rain is quite a bit less than some other areas that you wouldn't maybe think of when you think of rainy areas. A lot of the southeast gets a lot more rain than here in Portland, some areas like that, but it's just the type of rain. You have a lot more drizzle here. You have a lot more days of rainy weather versus the more that downpour that you get a lot of rain all at once and then it'll clear up. If you're someone that loves the sun, we definitely get our sunny weather here. The summers are fantastic, but it can get a little bit long in some of the winters when you have those gray skies in the rainy days. The flip side of that is that the rain does bring all of the lush green here in the area that we see. It also means snow on the mountains for all of your winter activities. So there is definitely a positive side to all the rain that we see here. Okay, con number three, we talked earlier about the high cost of living in the area, and part of that is the high income and property taxes here. And honestly, Oregon itself as a whole is actually not that bad. It's fairly middle of the pack nationally for the effective tax burden, but Portland itself is one of the highest in the nation. It's actually second behind only New York City. So there is a pretty hefty tax burden for those that live in the area, especially important for high income earners. So definitely something that you want to consider. Now, a way to maybe alleviate some of that, of course, is to live in some of the suburbs around Portland and not absorb all of those additional tax layers that you're going to see in Portland itself. Okay, con number four, let's talk about one of the biggest elephants in the room, and that's something that you see on the national media quite a bit probably, and that is the persistent homelessness and property crime issues here in Portland. And honestly, it's a fair reputation in certain areas. This is a problem in Portland. It has been a problem for a while, and they're continuing to try to problem solve for it. But the fact is that Portland is nearly 6 times the national average average for homelessness per 1,000 residents, and it's highly visible in certain areas of the city. Nearly 65% of homeless remain unsheltered, and of course that leads to higher property crime in those areas as well, which is a problem. However, it is extremely concentrated in Multnomah County. There are very little homeless problems in most of the suburbs. Over 85% of the homelessness is actually in Multnomah County itself. So the city continues to try to problem solve and add more beds and add more funding to the issue, but it is a persistent problem that continues to be something that they're trying to solve. But again, if you are focused more in the suburbs and some of the areas around Portland, you're going to see a lot less of an issue with homelessness. Okay, on to con number 5, which is traffic congestion and commuting challenges. Unfortunately, Portland has found its way onto a top 10 list that you don't want to find your way on, and that is the top 10 for the nation's worst traffic. It kind of moves on and off that list depending on where you look and what year, but it does make that top 10 quite often. So commute times can be long and frustrating. Really, the road system wasn't designed for huge growth, and there are natural constraints that don't help with that. You have hills and rivers and things like that that make it more difficult to expand roads. That said, it's not quite as bad as some of the other West Coast markets. Seattle often gets named among the worst, and a few of the other major metro areas here on the West Coast. And then the flip side of that is Portland's actually found its way on another top 10 list several times, which is their public transportation system. So although commute times, if you're going to be driving on your own, may not be great and it may be a frustrating commute, you do have public transportation options. You have TriMet, you have the buses, you have the Max Light Rail, you have the Portland Aerial Tram, which gets you from Southwest Waterfront up to Markham Hill. So there are great transportation options if you are willing to use the public transportation system. Okay, con number 6 is what we call Portland freeze. And no, I'm not talking about ice storms or anything like that. This idea that it's more difficult to connect and make friends here in the Portland area, that people are friendly, but just making those relationships is more difficult. Now, I will say that this is kind of one of those things that you see mentioned in other markets, not just Portland. So, it could just be something that certain personalities, obviously some people have a harder time making friends than others. I personally see that there's a lot to do in Portland and in the metro area, that if you're getting out there and doing things, Portland people in general are friendly. You're going to be able to find people that you connect with and are able to make friends with. So that's just my take on that. Okay, now that we got all the ugly out of the way and all of the negatives, let's take a look at some of the positives, some of the reasons why this is a great place to live. Okay, pro number 1 is the incredible access to nature and outdoor activities that we have here. It really is unbeatable. It's one of the best in the nation. You have parks, national forests, trails, mountains, rivers, the beach. You have over 10,000 acres of parks in Portland alone, almost 280 miles of trails. You have Forest Park right in Portland, which is one of the largest urban forests in the United States. You have the Willamette River, which separates West Portland and East Portland. You have the Columbia River right along the Oregon-Washington border. You have the coast that's only about 90 minutes away. You have Mount Hood that's only about 90 minutes away. Just lots of natural resources, lots of things to get out and enjoy, whether you like biking or hiking, boating, fishing, skiing or snowboarding, windsurfing, swimming, camping. It's all right here. You have the ability to get to it. It's right there, or it's really short distance to get to it. The other thing is that the moderate weather here really gives you a wide range of options for what you can do outdoors. It's not scorching hot in the summer. It's hot enough to get out and enjoy the water, but you're not wanting to just stay inside. In the winter, it's not overly cold, but it's cold enough on the mountains to snow and give you the options to be able to get up and ski or snowboard, things like that. So if you love the outdoors, this is really one of the best areas to be. It really is ideal for that. Okay, pro number 2, if you love food, you're gonna love Portland. Portland has a world-class food and drink scene. It actually recently ranked in the top 5 US cities for food diversity and quality. Think food carts, farm to table, diverse food and dining options. There's over 600 breweries in the metro area. Of course, you've got Oregon wine country if you're more into that, if that's your speed. There's just a lot of options here. You have fresh food, you have farm to table, you have lots of variety. If you love food, if you love getting out and enjoying a meal or a drink with some friends or family, you're gonna love it here. Pro number 3, this is the positive side of the tax situation, and that is that there is no sales tax here in Oregon. So that's going to save a ton on everything from your everyday food purchases, things like that, to your big ticket items like a new vehicle. And so really it helps offset some of those other higher tax aspects. And then as I mentioned earlier, Oregon's actually middle of the pack when it comes to overall tax burden. So couple living in the suburban areas instead of in the city with the no sales tax, and actually you're sitting pretty well in the tax department. Pro number 4, we talked about some of this already, but Portland is super biker friendly. It's extremely walkable and it has a really strong public transit system. Portland is often cited as one of the more bikeable cities in the country. You know, they're just really biker oriented. They have dedicated bike lanes. You'll hear the term, share the road a lot, which is that mutual respect between vehicle and bike, and just making sure that the road is shared and there's awareness there to protect bikers. We talked a little bit more about the trail systems and all the walking paths, all those things. And then of course, TriMet and the MAX system, the light rail system that connects a lot of the neighborhoods. So if you want options to get around, or you just really like biking, Portland is a great option for you. Pro number 5, Portland really does have a thriving job market here in the Portland metro area, and that's a wide range of different industries, but a lot of it's in the tech, healthcare, and creative fields, as well as some of the major sportswear companies. So you have major companies like Intel and Lam Research here in tech. You have Nike and Adidas Campus and Columbia Sportswear in the sportswear industry. You have Providence and OHSU and Legacy Health and Kaiser Permanente in the health field. And then you have just a lot of tech startups that are coming to this area. And so you have a lot in that industry as well. Unemployment rate is very healthy, about 3.8% here early 2026. And then one of the major areas of growth is that tech industry. You have a year-over-year growth here in the Portland metro area of about 12%, which is over 2 times that of the national average, about 5%. Pro number 6, Portland is extremely eco-friendly. Portland is all about sustainability. We're talking recycling programs, green spaces, natural areas, all of that stuff. In fact, Portland recently ranked as the #1 US city for sustainability. There's a participation rate of over 90% in recycling versus the national average, which is only 32%. And this just helps keep everything clean. All of this involvement in recycling and all of these programs preserves those outdoor spaces, all those amenities that we talked about earlier for people to enjoy. So there you have it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the pros and the cons, all of the things that you need to know about the Portland metro area here, to know the good side and the bad side, and to be able to decide, is this the place for you? If you're looking to move to somewhere here in the Portland area, whether you're moving just across town or across the country, and you need some guidance, some help, I would love to connect. Make sure you reach out and we'll help you get where you're trying to go. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any future content as you're getting to know the area here. Thanks for watching.